Falling short. Issues of Uncle J.
Hey Abby, I said, answering the phone as I drove back home after a long day at work. Hey, responded Abby in a despondent tone. To be honest, I didn't expect to hear back from you, I said, unaffected by the energy thrown my way. So you noticed the fact that I was withdrawn yesterday? Don't forget rude. Rude? Yes, rude. While I was going out of my way to be pleasant and overall sociable, you chose to be withdrawn and at times outright offensive for no reason. Apart from being generally tired, I felt uncomfortable after you were quite flippant when I revealed some private and painful things to you over the phone on Monday night. Didn't bring it up yesterday because your reaction left me feeling like I no longer wanted to open up any further. Abby, that conversation happened on Monday. I know, I just said that. If you felt that strongly, why even meet me on Tuesday? I don't know. You don't know? I then paused so as not to unknowingly raise my voice. First of all, on Monday I did explain that my reaction was born out of instilling the notion that your experience doesn't degrade or devalue you in any way. I continued. I didn't get that, responded Abby. Of course you didn't. What's with the attitude? Really? That's funny, seeing as you had ample opportunity in the region of about 5 hours to be exact, to have an adult conversation about how you say I responded to you on Monday. Instead, you chose to give me unexplained attitude and throw any positive gesture I gave right back in my face. That's my personality. Similar to a tortoise, I withdraw to where I feel safe and comfortable. So being rude is a place of safety. What's wrong with you? Let's call a spade a spade. By your own admission, you are currently still going on dates with other guys because in your words, we're still strangers. I'm guessing recently you were made to feel like you have a shot with someone you feel is more eligible than I am. So as a result, you felt that gave you the right to engage me like a second-class citizen. Here's the punchline for me. If I were to take your stance, I would have to say you're light years from being all that. That was uncalled for. My thoughts exactly, I said, then hanging up. Episode 9. Love Interests. The pain of caring. I give a helping hand, but it's quickly slapped away. I try and find the lost, but all they do is run away. I offer sincere friendship, but all they want is an enemy. I make a lot of sacrifices, and all they do is blame me. These people I reach out daily, and in return my patience is put to the test. Most times, all my efforts seem in vain, but all I can do is my best. One of the biggest reveals of how put together a person is can be seen in how well they navigate through romantic relationships. My struggle to succeed in this realm is somewhat a testament to how damaged I am. At first, I just wanted female companionship to make me feel good emotionally and physically, which is a fool's errand, as the goal is never really satisfied until one embraces a deeper perspective. This meant me making a fool of myself a lot as a young man. I guess my first relationship was with Simi at the age of 19. Simi was a good girl, but she wasn't for me, which can be seen in the fact that I panicked into a relationship after being approached by Ada, who was as messed up as I was. Anyway, I broke up with Simi, who ended up with Morris, a mutual classmate that had been in love with her forever. They went on to get married 6 years later and have 2 wonderful children. Ada went on to use me to get her British citizenship and ditch me in the process. I went on a lot of dates and briefly dated a few women here and there, but nothing really materialized because I was a mess physically, financially, mentally, and spiritually. Before I knew it, I was in my 30s and still single. I remember dating a few women. I didn't care how they felt about me, but just wanted to get married. One of these women was Chioma, who was a cousin of Simi, who like Ada wanted to use me to get her papers. So I ended things with her. She proved me right by getting married a week later and invited me to her wedding. I declined and Simi defriended me on Facebook. Dating in my 30s made me realize that I wasn't the only messed up person on this planet, navigating through a love life that was all over the place, as I found myself on dates with bimbos, narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths. At 35, I found Rachel, who seemed like a lovely Christian woman, teacher, and graphic designer. She showed a desire to be loving and supportive, which caused us to laugh, work, and pray together. The thing about Rachel, looking at her in a way was like looking in a mirror because we were very alike in terms of being full of life, being able to inspire people through teaching. Plus, she couldn't help but give in to the urge of wanting to fit in. This urge wasn't due to being isolated like it was with me, but rather being around a very interactive community of friends and family all her life, which often led to a keeping up with the Joneses mentality, which led to, by her own account, rushing into marriage without sensibly assessing all the variables. Like I have in the past, Rachel struggled with being upfront and honest. This meant you could never really take her at her word. And being divorced along with this fact made me wonder about her ability to commit to a relationship. I guess attempting to work alongside her on a comic book project was a good test of this. With me doing the writing while she did the art, of course this meant a lot of work on both sides. I remember Rachel would always complain about doing her bare minimum. I guess it's kind of unfair that I criticize her efforts, as she was doing it for free. But it was an evangelistic project linked to her faith, and her approach came across as despising small beginnings. I didn't really even end things with Rachel. All I did was confront what was clearly a fabricated excuse not to continue with the project. But then she responded with a whole spiel of her only staying in the relationship to be polite, which was utter rubbish, as she was trying to get me to commit to going on a holiday with her family, in the region of 12 months in advance. This, along with other obvious signs, made it clear that she was operating out of pride. In the sense, if I didn't make an attempt to salvage things, she could tell her people that she dumped me. And she was so desperate about not donating effort into the project, she was willing to lie and risk breaking up with me. I didn't even respond to her spiel, which meant me moving on from her with no incident. After Rachel, I dated a girl called Tare, who named herself Destiny. Destiny was a promiscuous bimbo who was self-righteous in a snobbish way, despite not coming from a well-off background. I put up with her looking down on me because she was pretty and a lot of fun in a shallow type of way, in terms of going on holidays and general outings. But fun attached with ridiculous behavior can only be put up with for so long. I then interacted with another girl called Muna, who came across as a sociopath. She liked getting attention from men and then speaking down to them. It's weird because she was doing a PhD at the time, but was clearly socially unintelligent. Based on the story she shared, she clearly felt unattractive due to being overweight in the past and let down by men, so much so when she was younger she ended up having an abortion, which wasn't uncommon with a lot of women I went on dates with. Suffice to say, I didn't put up with her illness for very long. Then there was Yvonne, who I didn't really date. In fact, I never even met her face to face, as all our interactions were over the phone. She suffered from rich kid syndrome, with dad always being there to bail her out, which meant a personality that was all about her, despite being a single mom, and couldn't be taken at face value. An example of this was shown when we were first meant to meet up. On my way, I got a flat tire outside of a McDonald's, which was only about 40 minutes away from her. I suggested that she meet me at McDonald's while my car was being fixed. Her response was she couldn't because she was tired of driving all day, which was silly because if my tire hadn't burst, she would have driven about 25 minutes to meet me. In an effort not to end my interaction in the same ugly way that I did with Tari and Muna, I told her it would be best if we were friends. I then dated Josephine, who was self-absorbed. When we hung out together, it was fun, but looking back, even in the good times, all she would do was talk about herself. Josephine wanted to be the center of attention at all times. It got so bad, on one occasion, I just walked out of her at a restaurant, which was the beginning of a very quick end to our relationship. My actions were due to the fact she offended me, but was so oblivious to the fact due to her focus being 100% on herself. I had a very nice weekend with a very attractive Fiona. We talked, dined, laughed, exercised at the gym, and did some Latin American dancing. I felt like this could be it. Finally, I had met a girl who I could settle down with. Then out of nowhere, she turned around and told me God said I wasn't right for her. As a man of faith, I accepted the possibility of this being true. However, I didn't believe her. As in the little time I had got to know her, she had shown minor signs of being a little deceitful. Plus, it was clear to me she hung out with me because she was a little lonely, but ultimately didn't think I was attractive and successful enough to stay with in a relationship. Which is hilarious because there are a few reasons for me to look down on her if I was that way inclined, as in the case of every woman I dated. However, all is fair in love and war. For I remember doing kind of the same thing to a woman called Aya, who I broke up with simply because I wasn't attracted to her. But in my defense, I was open with Aya and didn't bring the Almighty Father into it. Suffice to say, the moment Fiona announced her divine instruction to me, every form of attraction I had for her just evaporated. My anime life, episode 9. A few hours later, they arrived at Anika's house, which was a 5-bedroom house near the edge of the city, surrounded by beautiful greenery. "This is a lovely home you have here," commented Jay, as Anika invited him to sit at the dining table in the kitchen. "It belongs to my parents. I and my annoying younger brother just mooch off them," said Anika, as she put the kettle on. "Are you a proud moocher?" asked Jay. "I mooch and they get to love," responded Anika, causing them both to laugh a little. "What happened?" asked Jay, with a look that seemed to see right through Anika's soul. "What do you mean?" "It's late and no one is at home. My parents are out of town and my brother is out doing God knows what." Jay responded with a look which advertised he wasn't sold on her story. "For most of my life, it was my job to read people. This is why I know despite the plausibility of your explanation, it isn't the truth." "Well, what makes you so sure?" said Anika as her eyes began to well up with tears. "Experience has shown me that nice girls like you don't usually follow characters like me unless they've lost something." Nothing was said for 2 minutes. "What happened to your family?" asked Jay. "My father was a serpent dove, and we all knew it. He refused to give his allegiance to the new king, and they killed him, my mother, and my brother. The only reason why I'm still alive is because I was late to meet them at the restaurant they were blown up in," answered Anika, now holding back her tears. Jay got up and made a move to leave. "Where are you going?" asked Anika. "I can't stay here," responded Jay. "Why not?" Jay took off his shirt, revealing his serpent dove tattoo before walking off. Falling Short complete series can be found on JOMAJ Studios' YouTube channel. Falling Short is also available in paperback book format or on Kindle. To get your copy, email jomajstudios@gmail.com. That's jomajstudios@gmail.com.